Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Lyric Rivera. My pronouns are they, them. I am a late discovered autistic ADHD, multiply neurodivergent adult. And previously, before this regime took over, my blog looked very, very different. It was a lot of neurodivergent and queer inclusion content, just talking around the personal intersections of my life. It was a lot of personal stories and narratives about just my personal experience and feelings about a bunch of different things. It was very, I don't know, like it was more of like a personal blog, like where I shared my thoughts and my ideas and sometimes my art or, just whatever I was up to. Um, but, it has changed in the last few months, especially this year since, January 20th, really everything really changed. Um, and I'm really grateful for everyone who stuck with me, even though we've made this change. And some people are just like, "Oh, you're so political all the time now," um, which is kind of interesting to me because before neurodiversity and autism content and queer inclusion content was kind of political because like when you're a member of a community that the society and systems, the structures of society devalues or like doesn't favor and like puts down, your existence kind of as a whole is political. So it was okay when I was talking about political events related to autism and neurodiversity and political events related to being queer. That was okay with people. Actually, when I first started talking about political events related to being queer, when I first came out non-binary, that was really not okay with people. Like I lost a bunch of people because they were like, stick to talking about autism. Um, so it's been really nice to be able to stretch out of that autism box, but I do kind of miss just like sharing personal stories and my art and happy things. Sometimes share some of those little happy things, but really right now there's just so much going on in the world that seems a lot more urgent, right? But also at the same time, I do want to share little bits of joy and little bits of happiness because we are in this time in the world right now with this regime where they really do want you shocked and overwhelmed and just like the weight of it all. Like if you're not able to find your joy anymore, they're winning, right? Because like that's what they want. They want to be overwhelming. That's why they're doing so many things so quickly all at once because it's just too much for people to keep up with. And so people just start to feel kind of powerless and hopeless because there's just so much going on. And like that's what they want. And so it was really interesting yesterday. I think it was yesterday, sometime over the weekend. The weekends kind of blend together on Facebook. Like, I don't know if any of you are on my Facebook page or have ever been on my Facebook page. I am someone who uses humor to cope with all sorts of situations, sometimes even really dark, really horrific, sad, tragic situations. Like, I use humor to cope with that. And some people really don't appreciate when you are finding joy and humor in a situation that has completely wrecked and devastated them that they can't find any joy in. And I do understand that tendency. Um, But, like, I'll share I shared a post that was kind of joking and making fun about the situation. I don't even remember which thing it was. It was, like, making humor, and someone left this comment like, "You're just trying to make yourself feel better with this," as if, like, making yourself feel better is something we should be ashamed of, right? Like, that's like, you are imprisoning your own mind if you take on the belief that you should be ashamed of feeling good and feeling better. Um, and this isn't like this is very different from, I want to say, spiritual bypassing, right? Where you're like ignoring the suffering of the world and you are like just like completely disassociating from reality and you're not in connection with what's actually happening, right? Like that's very different. Like, see, I have friends who are like, I can't be bothered with politics because it stresses me out and it doesn't really affect me. And so it's not good for my mental health to worry about things that don't affect me. Like, I have people in my life that I don't really talk to anymore that have taken this approach and they don't want to talk to me because they don't want to know about what's going on in current political events. And so I've lost friends that, because of my Facebook thing, uh, don't wanna see me in real life, which is wild because in real life, I actually don't wanna talk about this shit all the time because it's what I do all day for work, so I kinda want a break from talking about this shit with people in real life, so they actually could hang out with me, and I probably wouldn't talk about it at all, but, that's their loss. Um, but that's just kind of the thing, and so I had this commenter on Facebook that was, like, so upset that we were using humor in a dark time, and they're like, and they were like, "You're trying to feel better," and I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm using humor to feel better, I am." Because I feel sadness, I feel rage, I feel anger, I cry so fucking often right now. When I, like, see something, like, I'll see a news article, and I'll take my moment, I will feel my emotions, I will be angry, I will cry, I will feel those feelings, but I don't need to be angry and sad and overwhelmed and upset all day, 24/7. Like, I'm sorry if that's how some people are. I actually am really sorry if that's how some people are because that really isn't a place to be. Like, I'm genuinely hoping that if you're in that place where you are overwhelmed and stressed out and angry 24/7, like, I wish for you to find ways for you to find moments of joy and happiness and not feel ashamed of finding something to smile about when the world is so fucked up. That's what I wish for you. Um, because, like, I'm seeing this knee-jerk reaction to people being upset that people are finding moments of joy right now, and they're like, "You shouldn't be joyful right now," and I'm like, "That's fucked up," because, I'm clinging to these moments of joy to keep me going, right? Like, we can have our anger and our emotions, all of our feelings, but we can also have joy too. It doesn't have to be a one or the other thing. And it's just wild to me that some people like want us to be ashamed of finding little things that make us feel better. Because, in my very strong opinion, right now in this time we're in, like these little acts of joy, like right now I'm sitting outside in my garden, like, and talking to you, and I'm watching the butterflies and the dragonflies and it's really nice. And then after, I get off this live, I'm gonna go probably take a little break and find a little bit of joy because I I've been busting my butt, stressing myself out, and, a lot of the work I'm doing is really stressful right now, and so, yeah, I'm not gonna be ashamed that I can find joy, uh, in the moments of pain, because, I had 2 really big losses last year, uh, and I really almost lost all of my joy last year, and I couldn't find any joy at all last year, and so, basically, I feel like you're wanting me to go back to that really dark, depressed, angry, hurt state where I didn't know how to find any joy. And I refuse. Like, I'm not gonna go back and be that way just because you're uncomfortable with the fact that I can laugh at the absurdity and the ridiculousness of what's going on. Like, take that somewhere else. Like, people. The nerve of people. Look at the humidity. It's just like my hair is going old. Anyway, let me look at the comments real quick to see what's going on. Sorry, that was my little rant because it's just like people are just so wild. Like, I think joy is resistance. So that's just me. So wait, social injustice is a thing for us. You have a platform and you're using it. Don't ever stop being you. Thank you. Yeah, and that's just the thing. Is I am someone who personally I don't need other people to hold me accountable. I am someone who I'm really good at being accountable to myself. I believe, although I do appreciate when other people outside me give me feedback about things that maybe I'm missing the mark on, things I'm maybe not seeing, things I'm not understanding, things I could do better. Like, that's something I'm very open to, right? But I just lost track of where the fuck I was going with this. I don't know what I was saying. It just like my brain went click, and I'm like, I don't know. There was a point to that, and it's gone now. Ah, welcome to the shit show. Whoa. I'm gonna have to look into this. Apparently, an Iowa religious church camp, a bunch of people have some minors, 88 children have been taken into protective custody. Uh, and there's suspected allegations of child abuse and trafficking. I'm gonna have to look into that. That just came in. I'm gonna have to do some research. Holy hell. Christian nationalists, human trafficking. It just goes together. Let's see. News articles, because that was my intent before I ended up on a rant. Thank you all for your patience. If you're in Texas, you may have woken up to a little bit of good news this morning. Texas Senate Bill 3 was vetoed in the late hours of the night last night, with Governor Greg Abbott waiting until the very last minute to veto that bill, which would have banned all consumable products that contain THC, including hemp-based products that are federally legal everywhere in the United States because of the U.S. Farm Bill since 2019 or 2018. And so there was a bill to make all of that stuff illegal in Texas, and it was vetoed last night. However, I do want to make sure everyone understands, if you're a Texan and you're nervously watching this and you're like celebrating, because I know a lot of us were celebrating this morning because it is a medical access issue for a lot of us, because our Texas medical program is really horrible and expensive and just impossible for people to use. I qualify for the medical program and I was unable to navigate it, and then just couldn't even afford the stuff compared to what you can get over the counter. It's just way cheaper. So this is a big deal for a lot of us, but they do have a special session coming up. Uh, and so we will see, because this is going to be one of the hot topics on the agenda of the special session. So it's a little bit of a celebration, but we're just giving a pause because they don't have this off of their radar yet. They're still, they're still got it on the agenda. So that is something to consider. Although that's pretty much like everything that was in my news feed as a Texan this morning was all about that, and everyone was just so happy. It's a good first step. Really, I think it only happened because a lot of veterans in Texas depend on it. Like, it's, for PTSD or pain or all these different things. And so those are Greg Abbott's voters. And so if he vetoed this, or if he didn't veto this, he probably would risk not being able to get reelection, because cannabis is a nonpartisan issue, because now that people have been able to access it medicinally, like the medical conditions that people have that cannabis can help are nonpartisan, right? Like, so that's good to see. Um, Another thing was kind of amusing is Republicans were trying to force the USPS to scrap their electric vehicles, and it has been so that they aren't going to be able to do that. So that's a good little random thing. Um, Oil prices are expected to surge because Iran did give notice that they are going to be closing one of the major gateways through which a lot of the world oil goes through. So that's concerning. Thanks, Donald Trump, for creating a bunch of problems we didn't have before. Uh, a lot of Americans are on high alert. People who are traveling and major big cities are on high alert. Like New York, the New York PD was put on high alert because of what we decided to go do over there. Like, we really have this president who is just creating all these problems for us that we didn't need to have. It's really frustrating. Other news articles: the National Park Service announced that in the coming years, they have a proposal to start charging more additional surcharges on national parks. They are also considering charging international visitors extra fees to try and cover things that to cover these surcharges, even though our parks are things that typically make us money. Our national parks make money with the fees as is. Um, they want to cut the budgets on these things that are already making money. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone, right? Well, they're gonna break it. Um, And then again, of course they wanna break it because they're trying to put a lot of our national park and wilderness areas up for sale. They want to sell off the land so these little techno kings can have their little fiefdoms and have their little cities, and so they wanna build these little places where they're outside of jurisdiction of the law. Like Elon Musk has Starbase, Texas, and then they're trying to make some other like Snailville or Snail Town or something. I don't know. There's like another one they're trying to do, and so Elon Musk is trying to create towns in Texas already. I kind of think Elon Musk wants to like be the king of Texas, and I'm like, no, thank you. Um, Goodness, what kind of a world we're living in. Um, Other news: the president went on this little rant last night, making post after post on Truth Social, Lie Social, uh, claiming that total destruction, total annihilation of these facilities. Meanwhile, there was photos and videos on the news today showing that there's a building still standing. So you know, doesn't seem like total annihilation is an accurate description, even though Trump insistently posted on Truth Social like a desperate, pathetic little person trying to convince the world that this failed operation was a massive success, of course. And of course, even though yesterday they weren't talking about regime change, they're already talking about regime change now. That's not the goal. We're open to it. Um, how quickly that we've come around, but no surprise. It always kind of comes down to things like that. Chicka, chicka, chicka. I want to give some good news. Let me think about some good news. I didn't really prepare. Can we tell? This is what we get when I didn't prepare. I was in a hurry. I was trying to get out here before it gets too hot. All of that. Good news. Oh, I know some good news. The judge said that the Justice Department failed to make a case to keep Abrego Garcia in detention ahead of the criminal trial that they brought him back for. So take that, Donald Trump. That was like something that was really good to hear. Um, the other thing, that was kind of that's a good news. I want to throw some good news in there. Um, Something else I did want to talk about too, talking about everything that's going on with Iran, is something that JD Vance said yesterday, and I'm gonna be all over the place. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. It's ADHD. Get used to it. Um, it's that JD Vance said, "We are not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program." This really, to me, sounds like the war on drugs, right? And how they like to pretend this war on drugs is not a war on people, right? Like, you can't go to war with an inanimate object. Not yet. This isn't Terminator. The AI hasn't risen to that capacity yet. So at this point in time, you can't go to war with an inanimate object yet. Although these techno kings want to make it like the AI. I think they're like, too many of them watched Terminator and all these like fantasy movies when they were kids, and they just didn't miss, like, they just have evil genius ideas. I don't know. It's not even genius. You know what I mean? It's just like, ugh. But we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. That is the biggest load of BS I have heard in a long time. It's like the war on drugs is a war on people. The war on Iran is a war on people. I'm sorry. Like, you're just trying to dehumanize and separate from the human element of things like we do all the time. It's like this, our society does that. Like, when it's like uncomfortable with something, they try to like distance you from it so you feel more comfortable. Like, a good example would be in our grocery stores when we get our meat on this package from a shelf, or we get our vegetables, like, and it's not coming fresh off a tree. Like, it's easy to forget. Like, a lot of little kids, like, they don't know they're eating a chicken, like an animal, a chicken. They hear chicken, or like they don't know a hamburger is a cow, right? Like, unless you teach people like what these animals are. And I know parents who don't want their kids to know that they're eating animals, and it's like, this isn't right that we're like removing ourselves from the fact that there's like murder happening. And I'm not even a vegetarian. I just want to put that out there. Like, I think plants are alive, and I think animals are alive, and so it's like, if you're eating a plant, you're eating a living thing, if you're eating an animal, you're a living thing, and I'm not gonna try to explain all this. I was a vegetarian for a lot of years, um, but anyway, like, I just think we're removed from the fact that we consume and eat living things. And so, like, we have this tendency to remove ourselves from things that are uncomfortable. We remove ourselves from the humanity of other people and situations because it makes it easier for us. Like, we are saying it's a war on a nuclear program and not a war on people. That's bullshit. It's just something that we say so that it's easier to digest and accept what we're doing. Um, Ugh, it just frustrates me. Like, but in order to get away with all these horrific things that people are doing, you have to dehumanize because people won't be on board with doing these things to other people. Well, some people might be, but it's more people will be on board when it's not when you can dehumanize, which is really really unfortunate. Da, 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 da. Do you want to hear about Texas? The more nonsense coming out of Texas. Uh, Greg Abbott, although he was good enough to veto the Texas Senate Bill 3 for cannabis, which I think he only did because it would have hurt his chances for reelection, also went ahead and signed a bill into law that will allow oil and gas companies to treat and sell fracking water, known as produced water, for reuse, which could include discharging this fracking water into rivers, streams, or spraying it into farmland for crop irrigation. So this is going to suck for Texans because it's going to contribute to further pollution of our already polluted waterways and ground and earth and dirt. But if you're not in Texas, this could most definitely affect you as well because do you know if you're buying meat and produce that comes from Texas? Will you know if you are buying meat and produce from Texas where maybe the cattle was fed like water that is from fracking wastewater? Like, you won't know if you're buying produce at the store if it came from a Texas field that's being irrigated by fracking wastewater. So, fracking wastewater irrigated groceries and fracking wastewater fed livestock, fracking wastewater filled rivers could be coming to a city, grocery store, or town near you. Congratulations. Because, you know, Texas. Other things coming into Texas is there was a story that came out that we have a Texas family detention center where adults are fighting kids for clean water. Texas, not prioritizing clean water. When it rains, it pours. Something that was a little bit amusing is Texas did roll out a new robo-taxi permitting operation, just as Tesla is trying to launch their self-driving vehicles in Austin. I'm really waiting for the Tesla self-driving vehicles in Austin to kill someone because they have done some road tests and it was not good. Not good. Young people that are, or anyone who's really like, you know, below my chest height, like below the fender, like at that like nose level height, looks a bit dangerous. Yeah, other news stories. Oh, last week it was noted that national parks and historic sites had some signs on them that were asking people to report anything that is negative about any past or living Americans. So basically, in Texas, when you go to different historical sites and things, they pretty much all paint the settler colonizers in the very positive light and paint indigenous peoples very poorly. When I started going to other states like Colorado and New Mexico, I was really shocked and moved at the fact that there was more nuance in the way these stories were told, and the colonizers weren't always automatically held up like heroes and saviors. And they told more of the truth, but not enough still in some instances, in my opinion. but some. And so every time you go to like a historical monument sign in Texas, it's always something praising some colonizer. That's all we have here, right? That's what they want the rest of the country to be like. They want to Texasify the entire United States. So if you're looking at Texas going, what the fuck? It's so horrible. Why would you live in Texas? And you tell me move out of Texas. If you don't fight hard enough, they're going to make Texas come to you and everything's going to be like Texas. So stop telling me to move out of Texas and do something to prevent your state from becoming just like Texas. Because if these Christian nationalists have their way, your state could be just like Texas too. Don't think you're so safe. You're high and mighty in your safe blue state because they want to target the blue states first. Speaking of Texas, this isn't really in Texas. This is a nationwide thing, but Texas is to blame for this. Measles cases in the U.S. were closing in on a 30-year record of over 1,200 nationwide cases, and there were infections in 34 states now. This was last week on, I think, one day ago. No, this was yesterday. So technically still this week. So this was yesterday. So this started in Texas, the measles outbreak in a non-vaxxer religious community. You're welcome. You're welcome. For all of you that think things that happen in Texas don't affect you. Oh, did we talk about how in Texas there's a law that was passed that's going to require the 10 Commandments to be posted in every public school classroom? Even though they just overturned that in another state, they went ahead and passed that in Texas. So something else that, if it stands in Texas, could be rolling out to a state near you. Texas is like, I don't know if anyone, people probably know this, but like Texas, like being in Texas, I get to see this. Texas is like this test ground state where they test things out. They test different legislation, they test things. And so they test things to see if they can get it to pass in Texas. And if they pass a bill or something in Texas and it works, they're just going to copy and paste it and take it to other cities and states and do the same thing. So just keep your eyes on Texas because it can be an indicator of what could be coming to other red states and then eventually other blue states. Yeah. Other good news over the weekend, Mohammed Khalil was removed from released from custody and vowed to continue protesting Israel's war on Gaza after coming back home. Will not be silenced, and that's the way to do it. So that's a good victory to see someone actually released. Other good news, we haven't passed the big ugly bill yet because most recently over the weekend, they found that the GOP's food plan would violate Senate rules. And so that was a setback. So they had to push the bill back and work on that. They're still working on getting it past the finish line, but anything we can do to stop it, any little thing to stall it, put it back, anything that keeps it from getting passed is good news, in my opinion. But it is what it is. We're all just here doing our best to survive. Do you hear Dusty in the background? He hears me outside and so he wants to come out with me, but I cannot pay attention to him and you. And we don't have a fence, so I can't let him out right now. So sorry if he's barking in the background. Anyone else just feel like so many real life events could be Onion article titles right now? I find that so exhausting and it's just kind of wild to see. Like speaking of one, and I can't confirm if this is actually like something that happened. This is like someone telling the story, and I don't know if they're telling the story for illustrative purposes or if they're actually reporting an event they saw, if that makes sense. Oh, the wind is picking up. And so this is a post I read on Blue Sky, and it says, I just saw a group of masked men stuffing masked ICE agents into an unmarked car who were saying, we're ICE, we're ICE. But the abductors shouted to the crowd, no, we're ICE. And no one knew who was ICE, so no one in the crowd said anything. Like, I don't know if this is true or not, but, like, it proves a really good point. Like, we don't know who anyone is when nobody's identifying themselves properly. Like, I'm ICE, I'm ICE, I'm ICE. Like, if you're ICE and I'm ICE, You're ICE, I'm ICE. We're all ICE. Everybody's ICE if you're ICE. Like, you don't got any badge. You don't got your name. I don't got any badge. I don't got any name. What's the difference? I mean, I'm like 5'2" and like tiny and puny and not really able to pick anybody up and do anything with people. Like, I wouldn't be a very useful ICE agent. I'm a freaking pipsqueak. I'm abductable size, like I'm fun size. Like, so I wouldn't be a useful ICE agent. That's probably the main difference. Is I'm puny. I'm a pipsqueak. Uh, but like, if these agents agents are not identifying themselves, there's no way to know if you are actually being detained by a member of the government or if you're being kidnapped and abducted by non-government sanctioned human traffickers. Like, how do you know, right? And I don't know about anyone else, but my life, I was taught that you never go to a second location, right? Like, if they take you to a second location, your likelihood of survival drastically plummets. So you're supposed to do everything you can to fight to prevent them from taking you to a second location. That's what I was taught. Um, and so, if ICE isn't identifying themselves, how do I know they're ICE and they're not a kidnapper, right? How do we know? How does anyone know? And then at the same time, it's like, even if a police officer was like taking you, if they don't have the right to take you, technically you have a right to fight back. Now, if that's going to fight back in court, if you're going to have the resources to fight that, is another thing altogether. But legally on paper, like, if you're not like legally detained or legally being arrested and you're detained or arrested and it's an illegal detainment or illegal arrestment, like, you're allowed to fight back. And so, like, what's going to happen when somebody who is armed tries to be like someone tries to abduct someone who's armed, like one of these unmasked, unnamed agents who refuses to identify themselves abducts someone who's armed? What's going to happen if that person defends themselves? Like, right? Like, what's going to happen when people start using lethal force to defend themselves against these abductions, since we don't know if these people are really ICE or not? I think it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be a mess. And then, I'm already hearing like people are saying that people have maybe been abused, abused by some of these guards, and they can't find out who done it, right? They don't know who did it because they don't have faces. They don't have identifications. You don't know who brought you in. You don't know who arrested you. And they're doing everything also so fast that they're losing track of people in their systems. Like, they don't know where they've sent people. They can't track people down. Like, the what's it called? Immigration lawyers don't know where their clients are. Even ICE immigration attorneys can't say where they've sent people or not sent people. They're sending people to completely wrong countries of origin that they've never been to before in their entire lives. Like, it's a shit show. And, they're grabbing and detaining, you know, American citizens. Like, we've had a congressperson and other like lawmakers be grabbed by ICE. And here's the thing, ICE has no authority over like a citizen going about regular citizen business. They don't have authority over you. And, like, you don't. So the overreach is ridiculous. Like, there was a man that was assaulted and dragged out of his car simply for filming an ICE investigation, right? And that's First Amendment protected activity right there. The First Amendment of the Constitution, the right to freedom of the press and the right to free speech and the right to hold your government officials accountable for the work they do during the course of their duty, and being able to film and video record our public officials is part of that First Amendment constitutionally protected right, freedom of the press, and also to hold government accountable and address your grievances with your government officials. So, if that's being criminalized now, like, you can be arrested and assaulted for filming an ICE investigation. Like, we have no accountability left. And that's really the end of the Constitution right there. Like, if people aren't even having, their rights, their basic rights, which aren't even granted by the Constitution. Like, the document says that these are human rights that we have from birth. The Constitution doesn't give them to us. It says they cannot be taken away. But somebody tell Trump, somebody come get her. Sorry. And it's like, you don't have to even be a citizen to have these rights. That's the thing. If you are here in this country, you are entitled to these rights. And I have a lot of feelings about the founding documents. A lot of feelings about the founding documents. Like, they're not the best documents in the world. Like, some people are like obsessed with these documents and love these documents. I have ancestors who, according to these documents, weren't people. So I struggle with them a lot because they weren't set up in a way that really included all humans as humans. But these are supposedly the rules of the land, which is why I mention them, because if we've got to abide by their rules, like, they need to abide by their rules either. Like, there's a social contract, right, with the government and the people. And right now, the government is in violation of the social contract. And since they have violated their end of the agreement, they have violated their end of the social contract. Now we, the people, are free from our obligations, in my opinion, to the government. But the government wants to control us, the people. Like, that's what they want to do. They want to have an oppressive regime. Like, the country, ideally would have a government that is by and for the people, right? And the government works to serve the people. That's how it is supposed to be. But we have a government that wants to set itself up so that the people will be the servants of the government. We will serve dear leader Donald Trump. We will serve Donald Trump. He's always doing this air dicking thing, like his little dick dance, air dick dance. Like, he looks like he's jerking off 2 dicks at once. This is Donald Trump dance. I'm Donald Trump. I do dick dance. This is my Donald Trump dick dance. Sorry. I just can't with the Donald Trump dick arm dance. Like, you look like you're skiing. Ski poles. You know what I mean? Ski poles. Just saying. That's what that dance looks like. Every time I see Donald Trump doing his stinking dick dance, I'm just like, you think that looks cool? Take that dance and shove it. I was gonna please don't turn that into a meme. That would be the worst. Like, that turns into a GIF. Me doing that terrible dance. What's going on in your world, everyone? I don't think there was anything else that just absolutely must be mentioned before I log off today. Let me look at the current event headlines for today just to see if there's anything that's happened since we went live. Oh my gosh. Trump this morning apparently said everyone should keep oil prices lower or they're playing into the hands of the enemy. He really doesn't understand even the most basics of supply and demand. If the supply becomes more expensive, as much as I'd rather the cost of gas not go up, like, capitalists are greedy. They're gonna raise the prices. They're not gonna, like, eat the cost. The freaking most ridiculous thing I've read in a long time. Putin says the U.S. strike on Iran is pushing the world towards great danger. Oh my God. Putin has now become the voice of reason. Holy fuck, we've gone so far right that even Putin is saying Trump is too extreme. Are you fucking kidding me right now? One of these things, like I just said minutes ago, that it sounds like should be a fucking Onion article. And we're stuck here like, is this real life? What the hell? Ew. North Korea has condemned the U.S.'s strike on Iran. I mean, everyone's just going to condemn us. My goodness. Yeah. Well, the driverless Model Y taxis have started in Austin officially as of today. So we will wait for the first fatality, and I will report to you when that comes to fruition because I think that's a not if but when thing. Uh, I honestly I wonder like, are they really driverless or is somebody like remote driving them like from somewhere else? Like, I don't know if I believe anything Elon Musk says or does. He's just such a scammer and shady business with that guy. Shady business, everything. Is there anything else anyone has seen that's going on that I've missed or that you just really are wanting me to talk more about or that I should know about or I don't know. Anything in the world, anything happening. Because I think I've kind of gone through everything I have here in front of me right now in my very unprepared, semi half-ass prepared way. Um, Yeah. I mean, it's more of the same shit. I think really the main thing the news cycle is going to be talking about now is going to be the Middle East for and what's going on with what we started over there. Like we freaking kicked a hornet's nest and now we've created a problem that didn't exist and now that's all we're going to get to hear about for a while. Shit that didn't even have to happen. Thanks, Donald Trump. Thanks. All right, everyone. I'm going to top of the hour let you all go. Just because I wanted to make this quick and get windy and to get warm and all of that good stuff. But I really appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you for your patience and your grace and all of that because I am not a traditional newscaster and I'm more like a political commentator and news thing person, I think. I don't know what I am. I don't know what I am. I'm just trying to do something good and I don't really know what I'm doing. I just know that if I don't do everything in my power, I'm gonna not be able to live with myself. That's really what this is. It's like I know I have to fucking do something and I don't really have much. I don't have a lot of resources. I don't have fucking money. Broke. I'm a broke ass bitch, right? I don't have anything, but I have this platform. I have my words, and I'm gonna use them as long as I can. As long as I have the platforms until they get taken away from me. I gotta go take care of that kid. Uh, because like, it's just like I know, like looking back, future me would be very disappointed if past me didn't do everything they could, even if it might put me at risk or it's scary sometimes. I just know I have to fight back, like, and this is the tool I have, and so this is what I'm doing. Anything else? Oh shit! I should have done this first because I'm a scatterbrain and I would have forgot completely. I wanted to remind everyone, try not to like flash everybody. Okay, I still have the shirts available. I launched them again on Autistic Friday. I usually have them available for about 3 or 4 weeks or about a month when I do a new shirt. So this is my newest shirt, Refusing Assimilation into Neurotypical Society. That's the tagline for the NeuroDivergent Rebel blog, in case anyone is wondering. Uh, Not my original tagline. The tagline changed. But anyway, that's a whole nother story for another day. Um, but so the shirts are available again. Uh, this I run them in batches, so they do a batch for 2 weeks and they ship. And so this batch, the second batch, the first batch already, I believe, has already shipped. So this is the second batch. It started on Autistic Friday. Hush, baby bear, which was June 18th. I'll be right there, kiddo. Um, and so they go for another 2 weeks, and then I'll probably do another batch if people still are interested and they're saying, hey, I didn't get a chance to grab one yet. But these are still available. I'm going to try to remember to drop a link for them in the replay post of this video. The replay will be publicly available for everyone to rewatch because I'm getting braver. Really, I'm getting braver. So that's really what's happened. I was really nervous about these live videos. when I first started doing them, and now I'm just kinda all in because I'm just like, "You know what? If they're gonna come for me, they're gonna come for me." So, I'm at peace with it now, so it is what it is. I'm gonna leave this replay up. It's gonna probably be up in about an hour or so because it has to, like, process, uh, so I'll share that then, but I'll thank you so much, I appreciate your time. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you are remembering to take time to do things that fill your cup and to find little moments of joy in your day. And don't listen to the people who want you to be stressed, miserable, and upset 24/7. Like, we are humans, we're allowed to have a full spectrum of emotions. Uh, and like I said, like, I'm not going to feel bad when I can find the little moments of joy because the people who are trying to make me feel guilty about having joy also aren't seeing when I'm crying, when I'm like curled up in a chair, ugly crying because I've read a news story that just breaks me. They don't see that. I'm not picking up my phone and filming myself while I'm ugly crying, snot running down my mouth. Like, no. So, no, I'm not going to apologize for sharing joy and for encouraging my readers to find joy when so many of you who have actually been paying attention and aren't tuning out the world uh, are just struggling with the weight of it all being too much, right? Like for me personally, if I don't find little bits of joy and little bits of humor and little things to laugh and smile at, it's gonna be too much for me. And I'm not gonna be able to keep going, right? The little moments are like the fuel for my fire that keep me going. So our little moments of joy are so really important for us. And so, like, that is like I'm gonna keep saying it. Like it's resistance to find joy in a time when everyone around you expects you to be just so wrecked. Uh, that doesn't mean like you're ignoring sadness all the time, right? It's like you're making room for joy within the sadness and within the hard moments and within your anger. Um, yeah, it's just some people like when they're angry and when they're hurting and they see that you are going through the same thing, but you're not angry or you don't appear to be hurting. Like they don't see your anger, they don't see your pain, and they expect you to have anger and pain. They feel like you don't have the appropriate response. They want to tell you about it. Um, and that doesn't really work on the internet because, like, on the internet, it's a place where you often will only share your best self, your best version of yourself. Like, you don't, like, some people might share some of the hard moments on the internet, and I try to share hard moments, but I don't share my very worst, most difficult, hardest moments there are. Like, those are private moments. It's the same reason why, like, as an autistic adult, like, I think it's offensive if a parent of an autistic child shares a meltdown of that autistic child on the internet. Because as an autistic adult, I would never, well, actually, I have shared one of my own meltdowns on the internet, and I did that with consent as an adult. But it was a very intimate moment, and I felt very nervous and very vulnerable sharing that moment, but I did it as an educational piece. But like I'm an adult, it was my moment, and I had the consent to share that moment. But I've only done that once, and I've had many meltdowns in the last 8 years that nobody has seen. I have them not every day, but I used to have them every day. Um, when's the last time I had one? Maybe a couple weeks ago, sometime. I have them. Like I still have them. I just don't film them for the world. Like I don't. So you see my joyful moments. Uh, doesn't mean the sorrow and the hard moments aren't there. And just like when you're looking at anyone else on social media, and like just remember that. Like a lot of people, even the people that share some of their hard things, probably aren't sharing their hardest moments. They aren't sharing, like, they're sharing a curated, polished version of their lives, not necessarily to be intentionally deceptive or manipulative, but because, like, sometimes you just don't feel comfortable sharing something. Like, some things are like private, right? Some of my moments I choose not to share. It's because that's like something that I'm not comfortable sharing. It's not because I'm trying to curate something false. It's because I'm a person, and people tend to forget that when you have a page, there's a person behind a page. It's not just a page, there's a person, right? And so as a person, like there are aspects of myself that are mine. They're not for the world. They're not for everyone else. They might be for me or for people who are close to me and people I know personally and people I love and trust. Uh, but like the internet doesn't get to have every single piece of me. They get what I choose to give to the world. And that's kind of the same too in my relationships with humans. I've learned as an adult, I didn't always know this unfortunately, is I used to give my full self to people. Uh, People who didn't necessarily deserve my full self, right? And that was not good for me to give myself away so much that like there wasn't anything left of myself for myself. If that makes sense, I don't know if that's making any sense. Um, the bug scared me. I sorry, it was like a really large fly, and it landed on my. Anyway, I didn't scream. I was like about like I had this. Anyway, we're good. No screaming. Um, the world is a funny place. The world is a very funny place. Um, and sometimes it's funny, haha, and sometimes it's like funny, tragic. I'm gonna laugh because if I don't laugh, I'll cry. Uh, that's the world. Okay, I think it's a place to leave it. I'll talk to you all next week. Uh, Early in the week next week, either Monday or Tuesday, probably, because there's a thing, and I'll talk about it next week. So, thanks for hanging out with me in the yard today. I appreciate you all. Hopefully, the wind, thank you, wind, wasn't too much of a noise. Put on a show for me. Appreciate it. Let's go give me some more wind, 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 wind. Yeah, wind. Yeah, give me some wind. Hard wind, loud wind. Let's go. Okay, hopefully the wind wasn't too much, but it was really nice to sit out here in the breeze and listen to the birds and share my yard with you. And the wind was less annoying than the fan and the AC that's roaring inside. I'm gonna go hang out with the dog kids and eat something and have more coffee, maybe. I don't know. Do some self care things because I'm caught up on the news cycle right now, and that's my life right now. I'm trying to find a balance, right? Because we it used to be like there was like a news cycle, and it would be like once a day you could check news and be up to date with news, know what's going on, and really the news cycle is continuous, nonstop most of the time right now, and so I get up in the morning, I check news, and I share if anything big has happened overnight. Then I take a couple hours break, and then by lunchtime I gotta check it again, and then I can take a couple hours break, and then by like the afternoon into school time, there's another time when stuff just starts coming out, and so I'll get on then for a bit, and then I get at like 6 or 7 in the evening. There's another like big poop of a news cycle, and then there's another one at like 10 p.m. before bed. And so that's my life, like checking in at these different designated times of day to see what the fuck is going on. Hey, yay, 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 yay. What the fuck is going on? Sorry. So yeah, I'm trying to find like anytime the news gets quiet, that's like, okay, I'm gonna go take a little break, do a little self-care right now. The news is quiet because sometimes like this weekend when we had a president deciding to do war, the news cycle is just like out of control. And like last weekend when we had the protests and the parade, it was a lot. And I think 4th of July weekend is going to be a lot too. I'm tired. So I'm just trying to find the places I can to take these breaks. I gotta go take care of my kids, my dog kids. Um, Thank you all. See you later. Bye bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Anyway.